Are you someone who is looking to apply for a Queensland nomination pathway? This video could be for you. Hi all, this is Kaushal here from Professional Visa and Education Services. I'm here with a video in relation to the nomination pathway that has been opened up for the Queensland migration. From 19th September, which is from today onwards, the pathway has been started. Now, especially with this year, they have made some significant changes, and there are major changes when it comes to the small business owner, which is very popular within Queensland migration. There are 5 different pathways, out of which the first one would be skilled workers living in Queensland. So they have a different pathways, they fit into this category. Second category is for skilled workers living outside of Australia. So these are for all the offshore applicants looking to migrate to Queensland in order to secure their 190 or 491 visa. Third category, they have made the separate pathways for building and construction workers. And fourth one being Queensland University graduates, which has always been there in sort of their requirements. And last one being the small business owner in regional Queensland. Let me take you through the initial steps and which majority of the onshore applicant could be interested on this path. So if you are a onshore applicant and looking to secure your migration through moving to Queensland, or if you're already in Queensland, this is for you guys. First pathway being skilled worker living in Queensland. So the biggest change that they have brought up this year, they are implementing registration of interest system. So which means you will be submitting your ROI, and based on the ROI, you will be invited. But before you submit the ROI, bear in mind, you have to satisfy the criteria which they have prescribed in their requirement. And there has been a slight changes, or I would say a fair bit of changes when it comes to the criteria for state nomination. Now, for skilled workers living in Queensland, the first thing that they have to understand is you have to check your occupation list. So they have 2 different occupation lists. One is for onshore candidate, the other one is for offshore candidate. So if you're applying from Australia, you have to check the one which is from onshore candidate and see whether your occupation is eligible to apply for 190 or 491 or not, because they have classified few occupation only eligible for 491, such as cook, chefs, or there are a lot of other occupations where they have only given options to apply for 491, not for 190. So bear in mind to check your occupation list before you jump down to the criteria. Now, once you see that you meet the criteria and once you see that your occupation is in the list, the second requirement which you need to satisfy would be that your work experience. So someone who is already living in Queensland has to be working for 9 months, which previously used to be 6 months, I believe, for Queensland 190. But now they have changed this to 9 months requirement working in Queensland after completion of your qualification, and you have to be working in your closely related occupation, or precisely they have prescribed that the first 3 digits of the ANZ score has to match with the skill assessment that you have held it. So any job that you're doing has to match either in the nominated occupation or a closely related group occupation in order to satisfy the requirement of work experience. Work requirement would be 20 hours per week. Casual employment is completely fine. All they have stipulated is as long as you're working in 2 different places as well, you can combine the multiple employment. So that's a good thing. But bear in mind, in order to be eligible for 190, you need that 9 months of experience with 20 hours of work in your nominated field or closely related occupation. Now, when it comes to 491, the requirement is to work for 6 months. You have to have the occupation in the list, but have to be working in 6 months in your nominated occupation within Queensland, and that can be casual, 20 hours a week. Now, greater thing within this is they have said they will approve work from home, but bear in mind, the company has to be physically located in Queensland. So you would not be able to work from home for the business that is located in different state and claim towards your ROI. That would jeopardize your nomination once you get invited. Starting from 19th of September, they have already started taking a new ROIs. You have to put your income details. You have options to keep your nominated occupation details, your residency, and all those things. So please, before you lodge your ROI, don't put a random details on that. It's very precise towards to what you would get pre-invited, and you will be supplying to the documents to the state government. So that's for the first people or applicants who is within Queensland to apply for the nomination, and unfortunately for people around living in other state does not have a pathway to directly apply for Queensland without staying there. Now the second one, and also this could be very popular among the major applicants who is looking to settle down in Queensland, is overseas or offshore workers living outside of Australia. So if you are, for you to be eligible on this category, number A, you have to be an offshore candidate and you have to be outside of Australia. Number B, there is a separate occupation list which is not same as to for Australian occupation list. So please bear in mind to check whether or not your occupation falls under that list. And on that particular list as well, they have got the category for 190, they have got category for 491, and not all occupations are available on all visa subclasses. However, they have added the notes in certain occupations where they have prescribed the minimum additional requirements, or we can call it a caveats, that they have prescribed on occupations, such as for teacher's occupation, they have specified you will require a registration as working as a teacher or have an IELTS component completed of 7788. And similar to other trade occupations, those people who is looking to apply from overseas, they have said you have to hold a relevant license as well to perform your work in Queensland. So bear that in mind. Just because your occupation is in the list, you might not be able to apply for it. Watch out for the caveats before you apply for your ROI. Now, if you satisfy the occupation list, moving towards the requirement. A requirement is pretty simple. You have to meet the Department of Home Affairs requirement, which is 65 points, competent English, skill assessment, which is in the skill occupation list. Beyond that, there is a 45. And when it comes to work experience, you would require a 1 year of skilled employment experience in your nominated occupation or closely related occupation. So what you need to bear in mind is you need to have a 1 year of experience in your nominated and closely related occupation, which I believe a lot of candidates who is applying from overseas could potentially fit into this category. But please bear that in mind. It is tricky because check your occupation list and check that additional caveats requirement if there is any. This is first year I think Queensland government has introduced this pathway, which is building and construction worker. So why they have actually introduced this particular element is, as we all know, that the current priority from the government sectors and everything on housing crisis and everything, I think they are putting this additional priority for the building and construction sector, where they have had selective occupation within the only for the onshore candidate. This is not for the overseas candidate. So for the onshore candidate who is applying for 190, 491, you can check in the skill occupation list for onshore candidate that there is also a box which says whether do you come from the construction sector. So now look, see if you fall under one of those, flexibility around on this element is you must be living and working in Queensland for only 3 months as opposed to be living for 9 months if your occupation falls under the list. You still have to be working in your nominated field. You have to have 20 hours of work, but just bear in mind to see whether the occupation has actually been added in the skill occupation list or not. That would be the major things when it comes to the sectors of construction. Now, I think this is a bigger news regarding the Queensland 491 Small Business Owner Pathway. From 19th of September 2025, Queensland Migration has decided to stop the pathway for a small business owner pathway to secure their 491. But however, what they have said is those applicants who have already pre-purchased or started their business before 19th of September 2025. So this is an important date. So if you have already done that, you would still be qualified as long as you meet the previous requirements for 2025-2026 financial year. So if you are one who has already started those business, if you are one who has already purchased the business to target for 491 Small Business Owner Pathway, don't stress, you can still fit into the category and you can apply for a regional 491 visa. But for new candidate who is looking to go and start a venture, purchase a venture, you might want to rethink about it because they have now stopped it. I will come with more video in coming days and bring it up to you guys to your understanding. Keep watching, keep following, and if you need more information in regards to your migration journey and specifically for Queensland migration, you can feel free to reach out to any one of our consultants. Thank you so much for watching our video again. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.